Network Watcher. This allows you to use a service like Network In and Network Out as well, to monitor traffic. Connection Monitor needs to be used over a specific port. This doesn't work WTIH network traffic, it's more for resource traffic. Create a storage account, register the insights provider, and then enable Network Watcher flow logs to monitor connections to a resource. Packet Capture. A feature in Azure Network Watcher that allows you to capture network traffic for analysis and troubleshooting purposes. Azure Connection Monitor. A feature in Azure Network Watcher that allows you to monitor the availability and connectivity of your network connections. Application Insights. A monitoring service in Azure that provides application performance analytics and allows you to monitor the availability, performance, and usage of your web applications. Azure Key Vault. A secure, highly available, and managed cloud service that provides a centralized repository for storing and managing secrets and certificates. Virtual Network Peering. A feature in Azure Virtual Network, VNet, that allows you to connect two VNets in the same region through a direct and high bandwidth connection. Requires forwarded traffic. Requires route tables and the tables being assigned to subnets. Address spaces cannot be overlapping. Peering status has to say, connected. Gateway transit is enabled. Peering needs to be deleted if a new endpoint is created, or the status needs to be changed to connected. Authentication. The process of verifying the identity of a user, device, or service. Authorization. The process of granting or denying access to resources based on the identity of a user, device, or service. New Azure RM. A PowerShell CMD that creates a new Azure resource in the Azure Resource Manager, ARM, deployment model. Cloud Init. An open source tool used to configure cloud instances on first boot, such as setting up users, setting the password, and installing packages. The ASVM create command can be used with custom data to provide the init text file. Conditional access. A feature in Azure AD that allows you to control access to your applications and data based on conditions such as location, device, and user identity. Grants allow you to control the location of the login. Session persistence. A feature in Azure Load Balancer that allows you to ensure that a client's requests are sent to the same backend instance for the duration of a session. Metrics. Data that provides information about the performance, resource usage, and availability of a system or application. Resource tags. Metadata that you can assign to your Azure resources to help categorize and manage them. These can be used to differentiate billing reports and costs per department. Azure Migrate limitations for DNS servers, domain controllers, and certificate authorities. Limitations with migrating Active Directory domains, including the need to ensure that DNS servers, domain controllers, and certificate authorities are compatible with Azure. Data Collector Azure Migrate. Azure tool used to collect data from on-premises environments for assessment and migration to Azure. Azure Migrate. A service in Azure that allows you to assess, plan, and migrate your on-premises workloads to the cloud. Percentile utilization. For example, 16 cores at 25% utilization with a comfort factor of 2. 16 cores, asterisk 0.25, utilization, equals 4. 4 asterisk 2, comfort factor, equals 8. Download the OVA file. From a VM, run TOVF template wizard. Connect the collector virtual machine and run the migrate collector. Create a migrate project from the portal. Multi-factor authentication. An authentication method that requires a user to provide 2 or more forms of identity verification, such as a password and a security token. Administrator accounts don't work with security questions. Need a de-privileged identity management for that. Fraud alert can be enabled for self-reporting of access issues. Azure Data Factory. A cloud-based data integration service that allows you to create, schedule, and orchestrate data pipelines. Azure Blob Storage. A scalable object storage service in Azure that can store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere in the world. Azure Data Lake Store. A scalable and secure data lake that allows you to store unlimited data in its native format for big data analytics. Cost management. The process of monitoring, analyzing, and controlling the cost of using Azure services.